Thousands of Palestinians broke into a UN warehouse in Gaza's Deir el-Balah as aid trickles into the Palestinian enclave on the brink of famine, and the United States readies new terms for a possible truce between Israel and Hamas. Footage showed crowds of Palestinians breaking into a World Food Programme warehouse and taking bags and cartons of food supplies as gunshots rang out. The UN's World Food Programme said 2 people may have died in the incident. Israel, under growing international pressure, ended an 11-week-long aid blockade on Gaza 10 days ago. It has allowed a limited amount of relief to be delivered via 2 avenues, the United Nations or the US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The Palestinian ambassador to the United Nations delivered an emotional address to the UN Security Council, breaking down in tears as he described the suffering of the Palestinian children amid the war in Gaza.
It's unbearable. How could anyone tolerate this horror? Excuse me, Mr. President. I have grandchildren. I know what they mean to their families. And to see this situation of the Palestinians without us having hearts to do something is beyond the ability of any normal human being to tolerate.
In Israel's Tel Aviv, thousands gathered to support hostages still held in Gaza on the 600th day of the war, urging a ceasefire to secure their release. Thousands of people gathered at the hostages square. They chanted "Everyone now" in a call for a deal now to release the hostages.
That push from you guys. We need it from President Trump. We need it from Witkoff. We need it from you. We need a deal that would lead the deal to release the last hostage, the last one of the 58 hostages that are now in captivity, and praying that we will not stand here again for the 700th day, but we will have the last hostage coming out.
The police arrested the protesters who had made their way into the headquarters of the ruling Likud party in Tel Aviv. Out of 251 hostages seized during the Hamas attack, 57 remain in Gaza, including 34 the Israeli military says are dead. Hamas also holds the body of a soldier taken captive in a 2014 war. And with us on the broadcast this minute is Alex Tryman, CEO and Jerusalem Bureau Chief of Jewish News Syndicate. Thanks very much for being here. I want to first ask for your assessment of the latest that we just played out for our viewers.
Thank you for having me. Obviously, the situation in Gaza is grim for Gazans. They have no economy. Many of them don't have homes. And I don't understand why there's not any country in the world willing to accept any Gazans at all that aren't that would like to flee the war zone, which should be a basic humanitarian right. The Gazan border with Egypt is totally locked, and not one country has offered to take any meaningful amount of Gazans that want to get out of the war zone. And I think that until that time, you're going to see the Gazans suffering immeasurably, because it's going to take years to rebuild what's been destroyed and to rebuild a functioning economy.
Right, the Palestinian envoy there crying out, recounting the deaths, and just a lot of emotion there. If you can just give us a sense of what all of this really means going forward, given the fact that there have been attempts at this point, even as far as the aid is concerned, there's been a lot of back and forth that's been going on.
Well, Israel tried to withhold aid to pressure Hamas to release the hostages. There's still 58 hostages, at least 20 of them living or remaining in Gaza, and Israel just wants them home. I believe that Israel would be fully willing to end the war in its entirety with the return of every last hostage, dead and alive. That offer is yet to be placed on the table by Hamas, and that's why you don't have a deal. But even now, as Israel goes back into Gaza with military force to try to completely extract and eradicate Hamas, which will ultimately be to the benefit of the Gazan people if they have a ruler that's not Hamas, Israel's trying now to bring in more humanitarian aid. They've set up 2 distribution points. Another 2 distribution points are set to open in the next week, and I believe that there will be even more distribution points and more trucks that will be allowed into Gaza as soon as it can be determined that Hamas cannot hijack the aid the way they hijacked Israeli hostages and use it as a lever of power over the Gazan people.
Can I just ask you also to comment on what you think would be playing out from here onwards? Where do you think the situation is really headed?
Well, we're going to see over the next several weeks that Israel is planning to take over control of the entirety of the Gaza Strip. They already have said that they are in control of about 40% of the Strip, and they believe that within the next 7 to 8 weeks they can be in control of 75% of the Strip, which means that Hamas will not be operating in 75% of the Strip. But until the doors get open and until Gazans are allowed to leave, either temporarily or permanently, I don't really see how this situation is going to be solved in the short term, because buildings have been destroyed. And that is a result of Hamas's booby trapping of civilian infrastructure and using it as a military grounds for staging its war against the IDF. And now all the Gazans are paying the price.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.